Hi, guys, and welcome to Porcupine Real Estate. I'm thrilled to be joined today with Mark Warden. Welcome, Mark.
Hello, Carla. Good to be with you again.
Okay, so today we are talking about something that I'm a little confused about, and I bet the entire market's confused about as well. There's been this commission change that's coming up with the National Association of Realtors. They were in a lawsuit. Things have changed, and there's a lot of noise out there. No one seems to know what's happening. So why don't you tell us what's going on? First of all, tell us sort of the history of where we are, and then we're going to talk a little bit about why it's important for buyers to understand what's up and how we can help them.
Sure. What has happened over the last year or two is a number of class action lawsuits resulting in a large settlement against a number of national brands of real estate brokerages and the National Association of Realtors. And these lawsuits were brought about because of alleged lack of competitive nature in the marketplace. And ideally, lawsuits were designed to help protect the consumer. In some cases, they thought the consumers were paying too much, or it was a little bit opaque on who was paying commissions and how people were getting paid. So the outcome of this lawsuit really is to help make that more clear. So some of the big companies like Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, Berkshire Hathaway, and Remax were part of this lawsuit, as was the National Association of Realtors, NAR. And our office, like almost every office of residential real estate in the country, we have all of our agents are members of the NAR, so we're now subject to this. And really, it's not bad, but it's just going to change a little bit the way we do things in the real estate business. And it mainly has to do with what's called offers of compensation, which is basically how the agents get paid. It's always been commission based, and it's still going to be that. But with a few changes now, it should be made a little bit more clear, less opaque on who's paying which agent and what that is going to be. And it's always been negotiable, but it's going to be even more better articulated now to the clients.
Okay, so it sounds like it's something that, can be advantageous, going forward. Of course, it is what it is. We're now stuck with this. So can you help me understand, how is this going to affect buyers?
Okay, good question. In the past, almost always the buyer's agent was compensated by being paid a commission through the listing broker.
Okay.
And when a listing agent would take a new listing, basically they'd work out a total commission that was going to be paid to both the listing agent and to the buyer's agent. And the seller would agree to some number. It's always been negotiable. Could have been 6%, 4%, 4.5%, 5.5%. And often, most commonly, that total commission would be split, not necessarily 50-50, but it would be split between the listing brokerage and the buyer's agent brokerage.
Okay, so just by way of example, let's say, to make the math easy, it used to be 5%. That was what the listing agent had as its commission, and then they would basically split off a part of their commission, let's say 50%, just to make it easy, and then the buyer's agent would get 2.5%.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And in the past, that number, in this case 2.5% in your example, was listed in the listing in MLS, multiple listing service, and it was not fully visible to the public, but for our side of access in MLS, our side being realtors, licensed agents, we could see what the commission was going to be. And that was part of the lawsuit. There were some arguments that maybe greedy agents would just show their clients properties that had the higher number. Instead of 2.5, if they saw one that was 1.5, they wouldn't bother showing that property, or they'd sort of poo-poo that property to their clients. Yeah, that one doesn't look as good. Let's go to the ones where in their minds the commission was going to be higher. So that was part of the outcome of the lawsuit, is that NAR now said no more. In no MLS listing anywhere in the country is it allowed to be shown that commission. All right. So that's that's the number one takeaway from this change. The
So
other one,
typically
go
what
ahead.
would happen now, sorry, like with the buyer. So it sounds important. First of all, maybe we should discuss, I mean, a buyer's agent is has an important role to play in this whole scenario between how real estate deals are done. Could we talk a little bit about that? Like, why do you need a buyer's agent?
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, Notwithstanding that frenzy we had during 2022 and the COVID nonsense from 2021 to
I'm sorry
2022,
for
where
a second. I was watching
people are lining up to buy houses and stuff. Really, there's a very valuable service that the buyer's agent provides, and that is to protect the interests of the home buyer. This is of particular importance to first-time home buyers, people who don't have a lot of money, who don't know the market. We deal at Porcupine Real Estate with a lot of people moving into the state from a different state, a different jurisdiction, so they don't know much about here. So they count on us as buyers agents to provide that local knowledge, that market knowledge. We have the forms and the documentation. Also, a good buyer's agent will provide a host of ancillary services through their professional network, such as home inspection. That's critical. A lender, very, very important part of the process is having a good mortgage lender, title company, other professional services. So we provide all that. And really, you as a home buyer want somebody in your corner who's going to advocate for you, somebody you can trust to do the best negotiation, help you with negotiations, help you navigate this crazy process that is buying a new home.
Right. And actually, I mean, you were my agent way back in 2017, where I bought my home, where my studio is. And it's the most money most people are going to spend in their life. So it's a really important decision. And I think for most buyers, they want that reassurance that someone is in their corner, someone's looking out for them, someone's making sure they're going to get the right deal, the right house, so that you can have your, forever home.
That's
So
exactly right. And so one of the things we're going to provide is that your buyer's agent has a fiduciary responsibility, both ethically and legally, to represent the client's interests. So another thing that's going to come out of this change in the industry is that it's going to be much more clear up front when a buyer signs a buyer's agency agreement that how the buyer's agency is compensated, as well as what all the services are provided, what are the expectations. We want shared and very clear expectations of both what the home buyer's responsibilities are, as well as those of its professional. And also it's going to be spelled out how the buyer's agent is compensated. Okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be a commission as a percentage of the sale. In some cases, it can be an upfront fee, kind of like attorneys charge in some cases. It can be a flat amount, for example, $5,000 or $10,000 instead of a percentage of the purchase price. But these things now will be discussed and clearly explained from your buyer's agent to you as a home buyer. And I think that is going to be a benefit to the consumer ultimately.
okay, that sounds good. I mean, I know there's a lot of ructions. People seem a little nervous. Whenever there's change, of course, things are in flux and it's an issue to kind of figure out what's going to make sense. But I think folks should know here at Porcupine Real Estate, of course, they're in really good hands. Our reputation precedes us. We've built those reputations with the people we work with here in New Hampshire. And it makes a big difference because the market here is a little hot.
It is. It's tight right now. The other thing that's going to be important is for home buyers, particularly first-time home buyers, maybe have barely saved up enough for a 3.5% down payment, FHA financing, plus some closing costs. And now, okay, they're frantic because maybe now the seller's not paying the commission anymore. But what you do is you work with your buyer's agent from Porcupine Real Estate, who's a professional. It's going to help you negotiate some of those closing costs or concessions to help you get to the finish line. We're going to do a separate video like this with one of our preferred lenders who's very knowledgeable in this area, and she'll help explain how that can be worked into an offer and acceptance to help cover some of those costs, as well as a down payment and the different financial products. So look for that separately.
Okay, wonderful. Mark, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for helping me better understand what is happening. It sounds like in the end, it is like everything else. It's a business relationship. You talk to your client, you make sure they're on board, they understand what's happening. That's why we're here, to give people the, best experience they can have while understanding transparently what is going on. So we'll be following up here with Liz in a little bit, but anything else you would like folks to know before we share how to get a hold of us?
No, just we encourage people to keep watching these videos to be educated so that you know the questions to ask when you sit down with your professional buyer's agent. We have a great YouTube channel with a lot of these informational videos.
Fantastic. So folks should subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, Mark, how can folks find you?
Visit porcupinerealestate.com is the easiest way.
Fantastic. And folks can find me at Carla at porcupinerealestate.com. And if you have any questions or will want to follow up or just find us, feel free to email info@porcupinerealestate.com as well. Mark, thanks for your time. I'll see you again soon.